I've known Andre for like a couple years. He had tried to hit me up around the time where like I was 18, he was still kind of underage. So I was like, listen, not right now, brother. And then he just had waited and he came back around, and then like everything was great from the first time that like we hung out. It was like a dream come true. Previous to being with Andre, I had been in a couple of relationships that were domestically abusive. They cheated on me, they were emotionally abusive, they had problems with drugs, so like they really just became different people after a while. So like I think one of my biggest fears was probably someone pretending to be Prince Charming and then like having to deal with the aftermath after. We were on our second date and we were just sitting at the restaurant, you know, like laughing, and all of a sudden like just the tone of the conversation, even before he said anything, had gotten like really heavy. And that's when he had told me that when he was 12 years old, he was accused of raping a fellow classmate. He went into detail about the situation at the time, saying that like the girl didn't really have a strong story, that she changed her timeline. People around him who also knew the girl said that like things were happening to her at home and things like that. I just felt really bad because I could like honestly tell that like he felt sick for even having that type of name put on him. He did tell me it went to trial, which at the time had worried me more. And as time continued to go on, his family members, my family members, people around us on social media started bringing it up. And then the question had to come back in my mind, like, if you were found not guilty at the trial, why are people still like holding this onto you all these years after? Being that I am a mother and I have children, it's just important for me that I get the answers that I need so that I know to move forward or not, because me and Andre talk about marriage, we talk about moving in, and those are two things of many that could not happen if he's not safe to be around women or children. If he does fail, I know some people might say like, oh, well, he was 12, he didn't really know, he was young. But for me personally, I've been a victim of sexual abuse, and that's just not something I can forgive, you know, especially having children. Yeah, it would just have to be over with, because I just can't see myself being with someone who could do that to another human being.
Andre, when you were 12 years old, you were accused of rape, which, you know, we don't hear that a lot, a 12-year-old being accused of rape. Tell me what happened.
So when I was in the 7th grade, I was 12 years old. This girl was moved into my academy from another one for reasons that I'm not sure of. And when I met her, a couple days passed by and she had a crush on me. She started writing me notes. And so like I had a mutual crush on her. I started writing back to the notes, and then she started asking me through the notes, like, oh, do you want to kiss? Do you want to be together? Do you want to like take anything further? And then she started asking me, oh, like, would you like to touch my butt? Have you ever touched a girl's butt before? Do you want to touch my boobs? Do you want to like have sex with me eventually?
Did you even know what sex was when you're 12 years old? I mean, you know, you hear guys talk and you hear people, but as far as the act of sexual intercourse, at 12 years old, I did not know what that meant.
No, yeah, I didn't know what sexual intercourse meant. All I knew was like you kiss a girl if you like them. That's pretty much it.
And I listen, and I grew up in a different area where things I think are more open now, and kids I think are more, they know what's going on way before I did growing up back in the 70s, you know. So I do think it's a little different, but still, you know, when you think 12 years old, what, you know, I have a hard time processing somebody who can be like a rapist at 12 years old.
Right. Like when I was 12, that wasn't on my mind, you know? I'm thinking like, oh, like it's bad to say, but like I have a girl, like I'm cool, whatever. Like,
no, it's not bad to say. I think it's
know?
natural. Like, and I think as a young boy, you know, you start, you know, find yourself attracted to, you know, the opposite sex, and, you know, you do want to explore. I think it's a natural thing. But, you know, when somebody says, hey, he used force, that's when it becomes a huge problem.
One of the days that she wrote a note to me, I'd accidentally brought it home. And my mom found it on the floor. And she thought it was at first because what the girl was saying to me, but then she asked me and I admitted to it like that it was mine. So she called the girl's mom, she called the school, and she told like the school that it had happened. I guess they contacted the mom as well, and that's all I heard of it at the time. Now I went back to school, and the girl had known that my mom said it to her mom, obviously. Her mom said something to her.
Sure.
As weeks passed by, right before Christmas, she had asked me like if I wanted to kiss her, if I wanted to like do stuff with her. And so I went into the hallway with her when we had the same classes. So I think I just asked to use the bathroom or something, and I'd end up kissing her. And while I kissed her, she asked me like, "Oh, do you want to touch my butt?" And so like I touched her butt real quick and then moved my hand.
Through her clothes?
Through her clothes?
Yeah.
No. It was
Oh,
just
you stuck
like
it down
a-
her pants?
Yeah. Like my hand was like put in her pants.
Right.
And I just left it there and then I took it out.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
And so she had asked me too, like, do you want to grab my boob? And it's not funny to me now, but when I did it, I was so scared because I'd never touched a woman's boob.
I was going to say, you had to be nervous, right?
Yeah, I touched it and like ran away, like ran back to class.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much where
So that's all the contact that happened?
all the contact that happened, yes.
Yeah.
And
So then how do you find out you're being accused of rape?
So we go on Christmas break, and then I come back, and there's kids saying to me, like, "Oh, you have her pregnant? Like, oh, this girl's saying she's pregnant by you." And I'm laughing it off. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I must be like a pimp or something, like a player or something, because this girl's saying, like, that I
Were you
I
looking
gave
at
her
your
kid.
hand like, what'd you do?
Yeah, something.
You know.
And so a couple months passed by, and I was at my friend's house, and had called me and told me through a mutual friend that she heard that the mom of that girl was saying that,
That you raped her.
yeah, that she knows somebody who raped her daughter, and it was me. And then the very
So
next
your
day,
mom must have like just flipped out.
Absolutely. She was questioning me. And then
Your mom's questioned you.
Yes.
She said, basically, in a way, she asked you if you had intercourse with her.
Yes.
Okay. So you find out from. How do you know? Like, did the police come and arrest you?
The very next day, she calls me again, because it's at a sleepover, so I'm there Saturday and Sunday. She calls me and says, "Andre, like, you're coming with, like, the police station called me.
You got to go down.
You got to go down there."
And what
so
happened?
We drive down there. She calls another one of my family members, and they tell her, "Do not bring him." He comes down, he talks to me, and he gets me a lawyer, and he says, "Don't bring him to the police station."
Right.
And that's what happened.
But then eventually you did talk to the police?
No, I didn't. The police called back that same day and was like, "Are you going to bring him in?" Because said she would. Once she said that no, she's going to get a lawyer, they flipped out. They were like, "Oh, we're
So
going to charge him."
were you arrested ever?
No,
or
never arrested.
But you had to show up for court.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a court date.
So you're going to court, and you, I understand, went through a trial.
Yes.
As 12-year-old, you had to be scared to death, right?
Right.
Because what are they saying to you? Are they saying that you might go to jail or?
Yeah. So for
Or
example,
juvenile.
For example, I went to a lawyer, and it was a paid-for lawyer. I didn't end up having him, but I told him exactly what I'm telling you, and he said, "Don't touch a girl's butt." I have another kid in here who's 12 years old who did the same, like who touched a girl's butt, and he's getting charged too. Don't be doing that. You can't give consent. And I didn't understand it. I didn't even know that. So now I was terrified.
But we're talking two different things. You're a 12-year-old also. I mean,
Right.
She can't give consent, but you're 12 years old. You're not a grown man.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I got a court-appointed lawyer, and they just started giving me dates, and she told me that I might not have to go to jail if I was like guilty, but I would have to register for a sex offender. And I didn't do anything, so I'm scared.
And your mom's got to be freaking out and this and that. So at trial, though, you go to trial, right?
Yes.
And you're testifying?
Yes, so she testified first. It took her like a day and a half, and then in the second day, I testified for like 10 minutes. We
10
had
minutes?
We had a bench trial.
So a judge is going to decide guilty or not guilty.
Right.
And you testify, and the judge says?
That I'm not guilty, yes.
He says he finds you not guilty.
Right, yeah. I
And
went back to school because I got kicked out of school because I was charged, and like one of the first things I was asked was, "Oh, like you be raping people? Like you rape people?" And so I always have to explain this to random people that I'm not a rapist. Just like I tell you the story, I have to tell it. I'm tired of telling it because that's not me. That's not who I am, you know? I want to be, like, say if I have kids, you know, I don't want to be walking around with my kids and they say, "Oh, look at him, he's a rapist." My kids hear that, or my nieces or nephews. Like, that's just not who I am. It tears me down.
To go through life, to explain an incident from your past over and over again, especially you say you didn't do it, that's got to be tough.
And they tell me, and some of my friends, they tell me like, oh, why do you care? Like, oh, that happened so long ago. Why do you mind it? It's like my family. Like, you don't know like what it does to people. Like, if you aren't around people who that happens to, you don't know. You don't see it. So it's like, I don't want this on me.
I think other than murder, committing the act of rape has got to be the worst thing you could do.
It's like tied. It's the same thing, you know?
You know how much I love you.
I love you so much.
You're a mom. And I think it's appropriate what you say. Like, you know, you're a young mom and, you know, you would like to be in a relationship and you meet, you know, like just talking to this young man, he seems like a really nice young man.
He's the sweetest.
But if he were to fail, you know, would he ever, like say, and I personally am saying, I think he's going to pass because one, this is a very unusual story. Do things happen like this when kids are 12 years old? Yes. 12-year-olds have raped people in the past. Is it common? No. Do I believe this young man did it? No, I don't. Does your family know about his past?
They found out about a week ago. I didn't really think it would come up. And when it did, certain family members were just like also shocked because they have met Andre and they're like, that's a crazy accusation. Like, you have children, how do you be with somebody like that? And yeah.
Well, the first response has got to be, well, he was found innocent.
Yeah, of course.
Or he was acquitted of it.
The problem is the way that they had found out, they didn't really like state it properly. Like, they just said that Andre has a case for touching minors.
Right. And here's the thing. He was found innocent, okay?
Yeah.
I really hope he passes his lie detector test. Now, you said if he passes, you're in a really good relationship with him? Mm-hmm. He's good to you?
Mm-hmm. He's the best.
He's the best. Look at that. You're the best. So he came here and took a lie detector test, and we asked him, when you were 12 years old, did you have sexual intercourse with the classmate in question? You answered no. Did you have any other sexual contact with the classmate in question? You answered no. The results came back the same to each question. And it came back that Andre told the truth. How do you feel?
I feel great. I know I didn't do anything, but I was reading online that you could be nervous and fail. I'm so happy to not be a part of this anymore. I have you. Like, no one's gonna deny you, Steve. So
I'm ready to get married.
Listen, I couldn't root for somebody more than I'm rooting for you to pass that test. And I do feel sorry for you that you went through that as a child. I think maybe that whole thing was mishandled by adults, by the police, by everybody. And it is sad that, you know, here you're found innocent and, you know, sometimes people still look at you with the stink eye.
Right.
Oh, well, he was accused of it, so he had to do it. You know, it's not always the case. So I'm really happy. I hope your relationship works out. And I hope this helps you, that you don't have to go around answering questions about it all
it does.
the time.
We watch you all day on YouTube. So, like, I could just send some of the YouTube video.
Very nice to meet you.
You gotta bring back the bowling shirt.
When I was 12 years old, I was accused of rape. These accusations continued to follow me, and I didn't know what else to do. So I called the Steve Wilkos Show. With Steve's help, I was able to prove my innocence. If you have any issues that you need to solve, I suggest you call the Steve Wilkos Show.
Can you relate to this story? Go to www.stevewilkos.com to get my help.